We're going to do a little devotional this morning on YouTube. Praise the Lord. 10th of January, sunny snowstorm out there. No sun at all, actually. I like to call this Job Stumbled. I called it also the danger of asking why. And I just want to share briefly, just to grow in our sampling of YouTube, what I'm talking about. From the book of Job, chapter 33, Elihu is responding to Job. He's the only one that had a right heart about him as he responded. And he explains that when Job says these words, I am pure without transgression, I am innocent without iniquity, that's Job 33, verse 9, that he was correct. That Job was right in saying that. God said that Job was righteous. We know that from reading, and so that on the bigger picture. And so Job's right. Job had no sin in his heart and wrong in his life that had caused the danger, the wrong things, that had happened to him, the bad things that happened. He was on a dark place, but then he started to ask why. And the only answer that he could figure out, since he said, I'm righteous, therefore this bad stuff must be God's fault. That's where he went wrong, okay? In verse 10, Elihu says that this is what Job said next. Since I'm righteous, yet God has found fault with me. God considers me his enemy. He put shackles on my feet, and he watches all my paths, in other words, to trip me up. And then Elihu says, but in verse 12, he says, but in this you are not right. And that's the thing. Job was wrong in his logic. His logic took him down a dark path. He kept walking in the dark. You know, when you're going down a dark path, what do? Stop. If your path is dark, stop. If you can't see the edge of the cliff, you don't know where the edges are, you don't know where to go, you don't just keep walking until you fall off or whatever. And that's what Job did. Job tried to do that, okay? So what I want to encourage you today, just in brief, is it's not a sin to ask why, but it is wrong to, in that seeking for why, allow God to be one of the factors that can change. In other words, to challenge the immutability of God, to say that, well, if I am righteous and this bad thing happened, then God must be bad. God must be, evil or whatever. And that is where you go wrong. You can't accuse God of changing and not being faithful, not being good, not being all the characteristics of God, right? So what happened there was that Job was in the dark and didn't have the light. It was okay to seek for why, but you have to seek for why with a right basis of who God is, and you have to seek for why in faith, in other words, okay? So let faith be the only, when you're really in the dark, the only light you have is your trust in God. Stay still, let your trust in God illuminate where you're standing until God shines the light on where to go from here. He will bring you to that place of truth, all right? I encourage you in that to trust God. If you're in the dark, let faith in God and who he is be that which sustains you, all right? Trust God. Anyway, so this is our YouTube for the day, and we're just trying to see if anybody can find it and if it works. And I thank you for tuning in. God bless you all. I'm Pastor Bob, and I'm going to upload it now, and it will be available for everyone in a minute. Bye.